Well, I got a couple new knives in the mail, and I wanted to talk about them a little bit here. These are the newest versions of the Covert from Gerber. The Gerber Covert is a very historical knife design. A lot of history between the gentlemen who created it. Obviously, you know, it's an Applegate-Fairbairn collaboration. Tons of history of those gentlemen as well. But it's by far, hands down, my favorite Gerber design they've ever come up with. There's probably 3 different models that I like from Gerber, consistently like, that I've had more than once. The first one is the Gator. I've always been a fan of the Gerber Gator. Number 2 is the Easy Out. I had a lot of experience with the Easy Out, multiple models when I was a teenager. Really liked that as well. And then of course the Covert. And I've literally had more than a dozen different variations on the Covert. Okay. But these latest versions are in an aluminum handle. It's a T6 aluminum in a gray color. And they're automatic, and their blade steel is a CPM-S30V. So, sold, right? It's a knife design that's something I really always enjoyed. Plus, I never had the automatic version, and how can you get, you know, much better than S30V? Definitely, probably one of my top 5, if not top 3 blade steels of all time. So, you can see these are fully automatic, okay? They do a little safety switch, which we're going to talk about here, because the first thing I want to do is I wanted to get both models here to see if they're consistent, first of all, which they're not, and that's something we're going to talk about, but also I couldn't pick a blade finish. I kind of like the looks of the black on gray, which is nice, but the stonewash has just always been my favorite blade finish, just because it doesn't show many scratches or anything like that. So I ended up getting both of them. In testing them out, the springs are the same, okay, so that's good. They're consistent in their spring power. However, the black one here, the safety switch is very crisp, very positive snap, you know, safety on, safety off. Of course, you know, when the safety's on, it's not going to fire. And when the safety's off and you do fire, you can put it back on so that you can't close it. It kind of works almost like a double lock. All right, but very crisp there. I really like that a lot. However, this model here, it's a little bit mushy, this safety. If I go slow, you can hear it. Almost like a second step before it snaps. Whereas this one, like I said, is much more positive clicking. Okay, so just a little bit inconsistent there with the safeties. My biggest concern though was the actual coil spring, because a lot of times with automatics, the coil springs tend to be a little inconsistent. Some shoot out super fast, some are like a little bit weaker. But these both are pretty much identical in that respect. But yeah, I mean, I like the look of this one a little bit more, but I like the, you know, functionality of this just not showing scratches. And I've always been a fan of, you know, just plain edge blades, simple, or not coated, I should say, not plain edge, but uncoated blades have always been my preference as opposed to coated blades, even though sometimes they look cooler. So, some quick specs on this. Again, CPM-S30V, which is amazing. Okay, they stayed true to the original dagger design. Very, very acute point, which is very nice. These came razor sharp. 3.78 inches on our blade. It's 4.9 inches on our handle, making it 8.7 inches overall. And still fairly light at 3.8 ounces. Okay, very nice. Now, what I want to do is compare this to the manual version. All right, first let's close it, take a look at them. All right, you can see a little bit different in the handle designs, okay, because this is automatic and this is manual. This one obviously has the dual thumb stud. Now that sticks out and makes this lump here, okay, which this obviously does not have because it's not necessary to have the thumb studs, okay. Once you open this, nice and smooth obviously on the manual, nice and smooth on the automatic, but you can see that again the thumb stud comes around here and actually prevents me from getting a really great grip on here with the thumb. Even though there's jimping on top here, we have just this smooth lump that's just kind of in the way. It's not really a huge deal at all, but in handling this and cutting with this, I definitely noticed a difference without that. Not to mention the jimping on the back of the blade, as well as the jimping inside this finger groove. You can see it's symmetrical. It's on the front and the back. Doesn't matter how you're gripping this. Much more aggressive. Let me show you that in comparison. All right. It's just a little bit more aggressive, a little sharper on the edges on both the blade as well as the handle. Okay, so I really like that. Just a nice secure grip in there. So as far as like the ergonomics, even though they're pretty much identical designs, because of the thumb stud, Not only that, but also the secondary lock that's in here. Okay, this creates a kind of a smooth point. So you have like, you know, jimping here, but once you get up to this point, you don't really feel it because your thumb's resting on that smooth metal. And if you don't know, this is a liner lock. All right, so when you push this down, it prevents the lock from you know, coming undone. So it becomes a secondary lock. All right, very simple. And then when it's lifted, you can remove that liner lock. As far as you know, centering on this, the original is off-centered. Could just because there's so much use on it. The new ones here, you can see pretty centered, not spot on, but it's not rubbing or anything. My biggest issue is this. Now this one, I didn't sharpen the swedge. These have nice long swedges, okay? And one of the older models, I did actually get a razor sharp edge on the swedge. So I had a true, you know, double-sided blade, or at least stiletto style, because it wasn't fully, you know, double-sided. What I liked about this particular design is that the blade is completely enclosed in our handle. So I was able to sharpen the swedge and never come in contact with it, okay? For obvious reasons, if you have an exposed edge sticking out of your handle, you can't sharpen it because it'll just cut you. It'll cut you, cut your pocket, cut everything. So that's one of the coolest things about this. It was one of the very few folding designs that allowed me to sharpen the swedge and still carry it safely. Unfortunately, with this new design, this is exposed a little bit right here. So as I run my finger, let me go back to this one. Run my finger, and the meat of my finger is actually in the channel slightly. I don't feel any blade at all throughout the entire edge here. So if this swedge was completely razor sharp, I would never come in contact unless the blade was opened, okay? However, with this one, as I start running up, and you can see it already, but right here, I'm starting to feel the back of that blade, and it gets just, you know, it protrudes more and more, and we get to this point, it's actually just sticking past the handle. So I would not be able to sharpen the swedge here, or at least not entirely. And maybe I can sharpen it up to like here or something, but that would be silly. I'd like to sharpen it for the full grind. So although these aren't meant or made so that you're sharpening the swedges, I like that kind of option. So personally for me, like, especially since it's automatic, I wanted to kind of make this a double-edged blade. It's not a knife that I can legally carry where I currently live. So, you know, why not go all out, make it super cool if I can only have it around the house anyway. So I didn't have to worry about that. But unfortunately, I can't do that with this one, at least not if I want to, you know, put it in my pocket or not have to worry about, you know, how I'm grabbing it. So a little bit, slightly disappointing that the design changed just a little bit, or at least enough so that that blade is not completely, you know, inside the handle. But other than that, you know, they're very similar designs. Obviously, they didn't stray too far from the original design here in making these, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty damn cool. If you ever, you know, really like the Covert like I did, and you want an automatic version of it, now they have them, and they happen to be on sale. I think it's really cool. These obviously will perform very nicely. It is unfortunate that I can't use this as an EDC. I would love to have this as an EDC. There are some exceptions. If you have a handicap, you know, you can look into that. If you don't have the use of your arm fully or your hands, you can get away with getting, you know, permission to carry automatic knives where, you know, normally in your state you would not be able to. But, you know, that's not my case, so I can't legally carry it as of yet, unless maybe one day the ridiculous knife laws change. But until that day, I'll have to just enjoy it in the household. So there you go. There's the newest version. Just wanted to talk about it a little bit there. I do like it, but as you can see, there are pros and cons. But I have to say the whole I can't sharpen the swedge is really not a big deal. To me, it's something I wanted to mention because that's something I thought was cool about the design. But honestly, not many people would actually do that anyway. I just really like that it's automatic and there's much more of a secure grip here, much more comfortable than the original design. Again, not having this protrusion here with the thumb studs. All right, so as much as I like this one, I kind of like the new ones even more. So super cool. But hopefully there's more consistency. Like I said, with that switch, you know, just not being as crisp. The best way I can describe it is just being a little mushy. It locks totally fine. It is not gonna go out of its position in either position. So when it's, you know, in the safe mode here, it's not gonna move down. When it's unlocked, it's not going to move up. You know what I mean? So you don't have to worry about that. It's just how it feels. This feels a little off compared to this one, which is such a positive click, click, click. You know what I mean? So this feels good to use. Now, if I never had this, I wouldn't know the difference. And I'd say, yeah, that works fine. And it does function fine. But once you start getting multiple of the same type of model, sometimes you will find stuff like this, these consistencies. And most people won't experience that because most people won't get two of the same knife. But some of you guys would. Some of you knifeaholics, I know, when they come out with certain models that you like, you'll buy every version of it, you know. I've done that with multiple models over the years. But anyway, so there you go. There's my review of the automatic Coverts by Gerber. All right, guys, I'm back for a second. There is something I missed. Oftentimes, because I don't script my videos, I just go with the flow, I'll miss saying something and regret it. But this I definitely wanted to point out. The manual version on our right and the automatic version on our left, the pocket clips are very different. Both these knives are only tipped down. They're not swappable, as you can see here. But the pocket clips are very different, and there's a huge improvement, okay? Not only can you see this pocket clip being much larger, but the placement of it makes it a very deep conceal clip as well. Whereas this one, you can see you have a little bit poking out of the top there. Okay, I happen to prefer the deep conceal clips. Some people have some issues with it just because of grip. May not be able to get to your knife as quickly without having some meat to grab. Some people prefer to have a little bit of knife poking up so they can literally grab their knife as opposed to grabbing, you know, mostly the pocket clip and the back of the knife. Just kind of a preference thing. But if you do like the deep conceal, the new ones definitely have that. Not only that, but they grab much more, you know, deeply in the pocket. There's literally a longer pocket clip there. So, you know, as far as preference, maybe you prefer the old one more. I happen to like the new one more, but they are different. So that was certainly worth mentioning. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Take care.